From its inception to its release and even further, we're going to look at the past, present, and future of For Honor. With marching fire on the horizon, things are going to heat up. Hey folks, I'm Alpha Lance with the Leaderboard, and this is Then vs. Now For Honor. Pirates versus ninjas, robots versus aliens, it's these types of head-to-head battles that we dreamt of as kids. For Honor brings that to life. Play as 3 and soon 4 different factions based on real-life cultures. Brawl, siege, and duel your way to victory with total badass warriors. Pick your cause, fight for it, and claim that sweet, sweet internet glory. When For Honor was shown off at E3 2015 at Ubisoft's press conference, our childhood dreams were closer to reality. What we didn't know is that For Honor was many years in the making already, with its development team headed by the very passionate former creative director of For Honor, Jason Vandenberg. Let's set the stage, shall we? It's E3 2015. At the start of the press conference, Ubisoft fans are met with this incredible trailer. It starts out with what looks like a siege of knights behind a wooden door being battered. On the other side, Viking-like warriors. Alright, so maybe it's some historical medieval game. But then, we see a samurai fighting knights in European-style armor. Okay, that never happened in real life, as far as I know. Needless to say, it got a lot of attention, and then Jason Vandenberg comes out and presents the official gameplay of For Honor. His rousing speech really showed his passion for the game, and he said, For Honor offers you the opportunity to experience the adrenaline and danger of melee combat on a visceral battlefield. What led up to this awesome reveal? Over a decade of blood, sweat, and tears. Not literally, I hope, but it wouldn't be a surprise if a little bit of that also spilled during the development. Before For Honor's release, Vandenberg was already known for his work in the industry. Involved in gaming since the 90s, he eventually found himself working for Ubisoft in 2008. There, he helped ship titles like Far Cry 3. Still, that dream game of his never died, and eventually, he got his chance. GameSpot interviewed Vandenberg 2015 after For Honor had been revealed. When they asked him why the development took so long, he claimed it because people kept saying no. It wasn't until 2010 when he met General Manager of Ubisoft Montreal, Yanis Mala, that he was given a team to develop For Honor. Game development is no small feat, and if For Honor was going to have a fighting chance, the developers needed to research the warriors they intended to bring to life in video game form. In GameSpot's post-E3 interview with Vandenberg, they brought in experts of weapons featured in the game. They would then teach the developers how the weapon is used in combat, and it was up to the game designers to do the system-fae task of putting that in-game form. I think they did a pretty darn good job, personally. A year after release, the game is still going strong, albeit not without taking a few bumps and bruises along the way. Let's dive into the nitty-gritty of the game so we can continue to track its evolution over time. At the forefront of For Honor are the factions: the Samurai, Knights, Vikings, and the upcoming Wu Lin. At launch, each faction had 4 different warriors to choose from. On February 14, 2017, For Honor launched to the public with both single and multiplayer modes. But let's be honest, the reason players bought For Honor was not because of single player. Let's just be real here. The chance to wage war and duel other people was the main drawing point. That and fighting for your favorite faction, of course. One of the biggest focuses of the game in Faction War, a war fought between Knights, Vikings, and Samurai. Players are prompted to choose a faction, and their performance in battle contributes to a war effort. As the 10-week season progresses, territories change and flip sides, and long story short, after weeks of battling, a winner is declared. Still, even the loser's efforts aren't for naught. Everyone gets a little something if you put some work into fighting for the faction. Plus, the faction you chose doesn't restrict you from using the others. If you picked Samurai, you could still play as a Viking. Doesn't mean you aren't a filthy traitor, though. Speaking of factions, we mentioned that every faction at launch had 4 different types of characters to choose from. In this game, they're called heroes. Think of it as a hero shooter like Overwatch. There are different classes in this game that each hero falls into, and they all serve different purposes, and each and every one of them has something that makes them unique. So let's go over the classes and launch heroes, but before we get there, a quick reminder to enter the Leaderboard's ongoing console giveaway. Just go over to theleaderboard.nyc/giveaway and log in with any social media account to enter. So why go over each class? One reason is because gameplay revolves around character choice, just as the various hero roles heavily influence gameplay. Game updates typically surround adding more characters or tweaking existing ones. After each season, there's balancing to each character's equipment added and more. So basically, For Honor season updates are like Christmas for For Honor fanatics. Now, without further ado, I present to you For Honor's launch rosters. There's Vanguards, your all-purpose jack-of-all-trades heroes. Really, it's up to you what you want to do with a Vanguard. The Knights have the Warden, who wields a deadly longsword that made any sane person tremble in fear. The Viking Raider is your stereotypical big, beefy Viking man with a huge axe. He even comes with the historically inaccurate horned helmet. Lastly, and there's the Kensei for the Samurai. His Nodachi is a long katana that gives him a bit more reach than the other Vanguards. Then we have probably the most imposing looking of all classes, the Heavies. They're big, they're slow, and they can take quite a few hits. You'll find that these are very defensive heroes, so they're good for anything that involves defending, obviously. We've got the Conqueror for the Knights, who comes with a deadly flail as well as a shield. And let me tell you, that flail makes for some nasty executions, and personally, my favorite ones. The Warlord is the Heavy of the Vikings. He comes with a sword and shield with plenty of brutality. The Samurai Shigoki is kind of a freak of nature. He's huge, bulky, slow, and carries a kanabo, which is a big old club that clobbers opponents with little metal studs. While the Heavies might be slow, the assassin heroes are fast and deal tons of damage. If you like dueling, these guys are for you. The Knight's Peacekeeper is a badass who uses her dual knives, swords, blades to hack and slash her way to victory. The Berserker for the Vikings uses double axes to unleash crazy and devastating combos. The Orochi is your stereotypical looking samurai who wields a katana, and statistically was the most popular hero at launch. Then you have arguably the most unique class of them all, the Hybrids. The name kind of gives it away. You're kind of a combination of two classes, making them versatile and probably the most visually striking, but also kind of mechanically confusing. The Knight's Lawbringer is a brute, equipped with heavy armor and a giant poleaxe who can parry like their life depends on it, which it kind of does. This deadly fighter is a result of combinations with the Heavy and Vanguard class. The Viking's Valkyrie is a Heavy and Assassin combination with a shield and spear, and she can charge at enemies. The Nobushi of the Samurai is a Vanguard and Assassin that excels at long-range attacks thanks to that handy-dandy, long and pointy naginata. Now let's go over the seasons that I mentioned earlier. I should say that every season there is a winner. While Season 1 was part of the base game, it ended with a Viking victory, unfortunately. Sorry, I know, I'm not supposed to show a bias here. Anyways, just a few months after launch, Season 2, Shadow and Might, launched on May 16th. And guess what? 2 new heroes were added. Vikings, while you won last season, you didn't get any cool new units. Sorry. Shadow and Might gave us the Roman-like gladius-wielding Centurion, a hybrid for the Knights, and as for the Samurai, they got the Shinobi. The Shinobi is an assassin who wields the Kusari-Gama. In addition to new heroes, Shadow and Might also saw the release of the Forge and Temple Garden maps, new gear, and more. It was in between Seasons 2 and 3 that news outlets were reporting dwindling player numbers. VG27 reported that For Honor lost 95% of its player base on Steam. Server issues constantly plagued the game and left many unable to join in the fray. However, the most shocking news of all came from the announcement in July 2017 that Jason Vandenberg had left Ubisoft and his dream game for AreaNet, the company known for the MMO series Guild Wars. Still, Ubisoft trucked on. In Season 2, the Vikings weren't so lucky. The faction war took a turn for the worse as the Vikings were uncrowned and the Samurai claimed victory. For Honor Season 3, Grudge and Glory, released on August 15, 2017, and added 2 new heroes. The Vikings finally got their William Wallace, that is the Highlander, and this hybrid that wields a sword about as big as a person as he is, the dreaded Claymore. Knights received the Assassin Gladiator, adding another Roman dude to the ranks with his trident and buckler. Other new content included 2 new maps, additional armor and weapon variations, and the run-of-the-mill balancing and bug fixes to both heroes and NPC units. In Season 3, the Knights got their chance and finally won. Finally, as Season 3 closed, the new season was upon us. November 14, 2017, Season 4, Order and Havoc gave us the usual 2 heroes, 2 maps, and fine-tuning. The hybrid Aramusha for the Samurai was added, donning a cool hat and dual katanas. The Vikings received a not-so-sane shaman with a hatchet, dagger, and the typical fast and loose assassin flair. The Vikings then went on to win Season 4, and Season 5, and Season 6 as well. What can I say? Okay, it's Season 5, and that arguably brings the biggest change, though. For many, For Honor was plagued with server issues from launch, and a lot of people couldn't even play the game at all. The reason for this was For Honor's peer-to-peer matchmaking, so there wasn't any dedicated servers, but Season 5 Age of Wolves swooped in and changed the game for the better.
just in time for the game's first anniversary. Oh, For Honor, how you've grown! On February 15th, 2018, a year and a day after launch, dedicated servers were added, along with balancing, fine-tuning, a new training mode, and more. No new heroes or maps, sure, but these were massive changes to the game anyways. A few days prior to the update, PC Games and reported a resurgence in player numbers. Active players reached upward of 1 million. With a new dedicated server on the way only days later, it seemed that Ubisoft once again will leave Rainbow Six Siege by revitalizing both its game and player numbers. Another update adding less content but more fine-tuning was Season 6, where we're now left off earnestly waiting for our next For Honor fix. Season 6 Heroes March released on May 17, 2018, reworking both Orochi and Peacekeeper while also adding a new map. The visual collection now let us fashion aficionados make our characters look super cool. So that's where we're at, but what's the future look like? With Season 7 Marching Fire on the horizon, we'll see For Honor's biggest update yet. Why is that? Well, there's going to be a whole new faction first off, meaning things are about to get heated. First thing you'll likely notice are 4 new fighters to try out, all part of the Chinese-inspired Wulin faction. Current creative director Roman Campos Oriola says they went about designing characters with weapons in mind first and the wielder second. This time around, they looked at Chinese weapons and based the characters on more of an amalgamation of periods in Chinese history rather than a single one. You'll also be able to slash and dash into battle with the Shaolin, Xiandi, Zhangjun, and Nuxia. Each are going to fulfill a different role and are sure to frustrate players new and old as they try to figure out how to play or fight each of them. Marching Fire is pretty good so far with 4 new characters in a single update, but Ubisoft did not stop there. Oh no. Somehow Ubisoft has made an already good looking game look even better. Now you'll find the lighting, textures, and skyboxes look even better than before, believe it or not. We thought it wasn't possible, but Ubisoft proved us wrong. Last but not least, Marching Fire introduces 2 new modes. One that'll be sure to have players captivated is the Breach mode. Roman Campos Oriola says they aim to add more depth to the team fighting aspect of the game. And now you're not just going to be fighting and controlling zones or capturing flags, but breaching an entire dang castle. Alright, that'll be great for you PvP fanatics, but what if you don't like slaying other players? What if the PvP part of the game scares you? If you want to practice some more? Well, there's a new PvE mode called Arcade. You can use the same characters you use in PvP, says Oriola, allowing you to continue that character's progression, play with friends or by yourself. You can pretty much do it all now in For Honor. Will For Honor Marching Fire be able to kindle that flame inside you once again? It sure looks like it, so we'll be seeing you on the battlefield real soon. And that's it for now. I'm Alpha Lance, and thanks for watching. And if you still don't know who to play in For Honor, check out our Who's Your Main and Who's Your Main Volume 2 video for a quick rundown. And if you like getting more from your game, subscribe to The Leaderboard, your home for video game facts.